Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, talking fishing. If it's facts about fishing that you want to know, then tune in, folks, cause this is the show. We'll show you all the right bait to use, so sit right back, you got nothing to lose. Doesn't really matter if it's trout or carp, flathead, marlin or a gummy shark. Listen to the guys and you can't go wrong. They'll be talking about fishing till the cows come home. Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing.
And welcome back, everyone, to Talking Fishing 2019, the first show of the year for us, and we've had a pretty good break, but hopefully we're back into it now. And I tell you what, tonight, Catch of the Week, what a great variety we get at this time of year. Now, it's been hot, there's been fish kills, and I reckon we have had 4 million emails from everybody saying, tell us about the fish kills. But there's also been some sensational fishing and ads. It is an exciting time of the year, isn't it?
It is a massively exciting time of the year because this is the first day in 2019 that I've ironed a shirt, and I reckon I didn't do a bad job. So bring on 2019. It's going to be a good year.
And the man all the way from Shepparton, Stephen Victor Trelfall. Been pretty warm up the bush too, hasn't it, mate?
It has, actually. Almost lost my way down.
Yeah?
There's been some exciting things happening while we've been off air.
Yeah.
There's been some great things happening, and yes, has been very, very hot.
We had a lovely dinner before the show tonight, Charlie, and your lovely wife Mary was rugged up in the coat. I mean, it got down to about 14 degrees today or something.
Strange day.
Yeah, I know. That's
Strange
right.
day.
Yeah. We opened the door in the motel over there tonight, and as we got in, and it was like 20 minutes later, I was like, we'll shut the door and put the coat on.
Yeah. Now, it has been a frustrating season too, because a lot of people expected, like last year, the yellowtail kingfish would turn up, you know, on the strike of midnight on January the 1st. Anyway, it just didn't happen. And I actually had someone ring the shop and say, how do I get on a website to tell me the currents and the water temperatures and what colour is the water, blue or green? And I said, mate, there is no site that tells you whether the water's blue or green.
Yeah, don't worry about all that. We're going to solve all your problems in Product of the Week tonight. Don't you worry about that.
Except your eyesight.
Yeah, get out there and try. But there is a lot of frustrated people, including me. I did 7 trips in the first 3 weeks of January to go and get a kingfish. We actually had quite calm weather.
Yep.
And I've got donuts.
But the most frustrating thing is that they're there.
Yeah.
It would be easy to explain if they just didn't turn up. But
That's right.
they've just been cagey kingfish at the moment.
The other thing is the hot weather, fish kills, Trolley, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later on. But, folks, let's have a look at what's been caught by the people at home. It's time for Catch of the Week.
Catch of the Week, brought to you by Shimano.
Now, I reckon this species, I'm not sure it's actually featured in Catch of the Week before, but
Maybe.
they're in good numbers and they are in damn good sizes, and they are actually going to feature in Fisheries News later on. Have a look at this. Urzan Salu with a lovely bunch of garfish from Western Port. On board Think Big Charters with Sean Ferdy, because one of the things I like about Sean is Sean catches the fish that are available on
whatever's
the bite.
there to catch. That's
on the
right.
bite. And you know what? That day he went out and got a lovely bag of King George whiting for his customers, but also the gars are on. Why not catch gars?
Exactly.
Oh, mate, got a good feed of gars to go home.
Great eating.
And a great feed.
Great feed.
Yeah.
Great feed.
Yeah.
Bones and all.
Well, that size, you'd almost to get a fillet off them.
Yeah. But, and I'm telling you, wait till later on. There's been records set, I can tell you. Let's keep moving along, because this is another species that's dominating in Western Port. 97-year-old Don Newman.
Doesn't look a day over 96, Dave. Come on.
He doesn't. No, he got a 49-centimetre whiting in Summers last week.
Yep.
And he texted me the photo. He was so excited.
That's a big whiting.
I think he's still got one of those Nokias, so you had to work it out to take a photo and download it or upload it or whatever. But 49 centimetres, that's a damn good fish.
That is a good fish. That's a big whiting.
He's looking well, Don, isn't he?
He's looking all right for 97.
He doesn't look 90. So I'd
Goes for a
pick
walk
him for
every
about
morning.
Well, he's still
74.
Well, you think after 97 years he'd learn how to smile.
I'll tell you, Don goes for an hour walk every morning, Charlie.
That takes him
the
2
mailbox.
hours.
No, no, check the mailbox. It's only 10 metres from. But anyway, bring his photo down
whiz out
now.
of you, Don.
You can bring his photo down.
We love you, Donny.
All right, let's move on. The other species that is just sensational, Darren Nelson. I don't know how he's actually lifting that,
Yeah, I
but
was
have a
gonna
look
say,
at
that's
that for a gummy shark
that's
off
a
cows.
big gummy.
That's a cracker.
And that's not the only big gummy we've seen over the last few
No.
weeks. These are quietly, I think they're the most underrated species on at the moment. Just people are getting it done and not saying too much.
You get a fair bit off something like that, wouldn't you?
yeah.
Fillet-wise.
If you knocked it on the head.
Oh, what? You're not supposed
Well,
to.
usually they're females and usually they're pregnant, so they're kind of like permanently pregnant.
Are they?
Yeah, so you meant to throw them
They're
back.
like kangaroos.
Those big ones. Yeah. Anyways, let's move along. The species
good
that's
flathead.
doing so well in Port Phillip Bay is the old Yank or blue spot flathead, and
Yep.
Declan Ricks, what a classic model off
That's a
St
good
Leonard's.
flathead.
A lot of people that aren't catching whitey.
The size is getting better on the flatties, isn't it?
Yeah.
Every year we're starting to see more and more of
Yeah.
these bigger models.
Yeah.
Which
All
is
right, Declan.
great to see.
Be a few girls right in after that pic on the TV, Declan.
I reckon there'll be a time where there'll be 90 centimetres.
Yep.
I mean, I think you see a few in the 80s every year, but I think not that far off some 90 centimetre flathead in Port Phillip
They're
Bay,
getting bigger.
which is up there with Duskies down at Lake Tyers.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, speaking of Lake Tyers, the news is Travis Dowling, head of fisheries, still can't catch one. Had
Oh.
a big fisheries comp
They're going
there.
to have to change the venue to give him a shot, I think.
Well, I don't know where he's going to go.
Casey
Just
Fields.
Gamby.
Just after a release.
Yeah, probably in the Gamby.
I don't reckon Trav could catch a fish in the Gamby, but anyway. And lucky last, the fish that has been eluding most people, Tom Caney, got a lovely 90 centimetre kingfish the
That's
other
a good
day
fish.
in
Yeah,
the
that's a
rip.
cracker.
And few and far between, but well done, Tom, out with the old man. And sorry, that's not the last one. I've got a few more. I'm thinking that's the last one, so that's all good. I've got to keep punching along. I'm behind.
Bit rusty.
The next one, Sarah Patcher. I hope I've said that right. Got a 50 centimetre flathead off Nungurna. Now, James is her dad, and James writes, 50 centimetre flatty caught by Sarah Ann, wading the shallows off Flanagan's Island, Nungurna over the Christmas holidays. It was Sarah's first ever time using soft plastics, and she followed this with another 45 centimetre fish about 10 casts later. One happy young lady. It's Sarah's 14th birthday yesterday. So happy birthday, Sarah.
Happy
well
birthday,
done.
Sarah. That's a.
Happy birthday.
Hey, do you know what?
Couple of
So your
duskies.
first two
Yeah,
fish
yeah.
on soft plastics going 50 and 45 in the flathead states.
What better way to crack it?
That's a good effort.
10 casts apart too.
Yeah, you'll love that.
Usually we're about 300 casts apart, so she's done very well.
Very well.
Keep moving on. Gabriella and her mum got a 48 centimetre snapper in Lake Tyers. Would
Is
you
that
believe?
unusual for snapper in Lake Tyers?
Well, so like I was saying, Travis
Yeah.
Dowling was down there. He was trying to catch fish and couldn't. But they had the Aqua Cup down there, which is the fisheries staff fishing competition on the weekend,
Yeah, yeah.
and they said there was a lot of snapper caught. Now that system's been closed for 2 years now,
Yep.
and there's snapper in there.
And there's that much food.
However,
It's good, isn't it?
however, we are going to talk later on about there is another estuary only about 400 metres up the road, 400 kilometres up the road, sorry,
Yep.
that had a massive snapper kill today. So,
interesting, very good.
yeah, that's those systems do get hot. They
Yeah,
get
that's
dissolved,
right. Yeah.
dissolved of oxygen, and anyway, we just hope the snapper are all right. But thank God the fish kills have all been in New South Wales,
Wow.
Trelly. So, and talking about New South Wales, have a look at the lucky last one. Brandon Clark, a metre long Murray cod out of Lake Marwar
That's a
last
big
week.
cod.
Yeah, that's nice cod.
First metery for
What did you get that
Brandon.
on?
So
Yeah. Oh, it looks like a spinnerbait, is it? Or a surface lure? I
Yeah.
can't quite, if I sneak up to the TV, it'd be close, I'd tell them.
Zoom in with you, Jack.
cod's been pretty good, Trelly.
Cod's been really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had some really good catches in the Goulburn. The Goulburn's been running a little bit high because they've got a delivery downstream, but clear water, the Murray's been up and down a little bit, but it's down at the moment. I went there a couple of days ago, walked halfway across the Murray up behind Numurkah.
What do you mean you walked halfway across?
Well, you can sort of see that sort of sand like you do down here in the bay, so I thought, it's not that deep, I'll go for
Yeah.
a walk. So I
Yep.
walked halfway across and back in
Yeah.
with little young Charlie. But yeah, look, it's been fishing really, really well. Eildon's been fishing quite well.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty good.
There you go. If you'd like to send in a pic of your catch of the week, this is what you have to do.
If you want to be like me and have your photo on TV, email your fishing pic to info@arkish.com.au. Go Pies!
Yeah, I wanna go fishing.
How the hell did Chloe
go the
Malloy
Pies.
from the Collingwood AFLW get into that?
Can't believe Chloe didn't join in the text.
I'm with you,
How
Chloe.
did-
Go the Pies.
Yep.
Don't you worry about that.
Can I just mention that
Come on,
Chloe, you two blokes are already taking a week off next week.
Well, we've got to ease into these things,
Oh
Dave.
my
you know.
God! So anyway, Chloe Malloy will be back on the set next week, co-hosting. And boy, have I got some Collingwood jokes coming up next week. I'll tell you what. But Chloe, the ambassador for women in rec fishing, she's now joined the Catch of the Week outro, or whatever you call it.
Don't worry, Chloe, we've got a few jokes on Dave, I could tell you before.
Yeah, I'm sure you have.
We're
But
just
anyway,
getting
looking
started.
forward to that. Coming up next, fisheries news. Did you know 3 blokes have been banned from fishing for 10 years?
Banned from fishing.
For 10 years. Coming up next on Talking Fishing.
Talking fishing.
We know what you'd rather be doing.
We know what you really got in mind.
We know you'd rather be out fishing. And today's the day you're gonna wet a line. 'Cause every day's a good day.
Stop wishing.
Every day's a chance to drift away. Drift away.
Every day's a good day for fishing. See it down and tackle world today.
Talking fishing, nothing but fishing. We're talking fishing.
Live from the studios of Channel 31 Melbourne, it's now time for some very fishy news.
And welcome back to Talking Fishing, everyone. The first show for 2019. It's a big one too, boys, because there's a bit of news to cover. Let's
I'm
Bring it on.
listening.
Yeah, let's kick it off. This is an interesting one.
Pile.
Electrofishing event at the Lake Eildon Wall is the headline. Now, today, there was, and today's only our first show back, there was meant to be an event on today. And due to Eildon's weather looking dismal, today they've moved this week's electrofishing event to Wednesday the 13th of February, which is actually tomorrow. So, from 10 o'clock until 12 noon, I'm over here, sorry. From 10 a.m. until 12 noon in sunny conditions, we'll have Arthur Ryler Institute researchers electrofishing the wall at Lake Eildon and tagging all Murray cod over 35 centimetres. Interested fishers and members of the public are invited to come to the Alliance boat ramp to have an informal question and answer session with our fisheries managers and researchers about our electrofishing work. So, boys, they're going to electrofish the wall.
Yep.
There's going to be some
Now-
enormous
So
market.
no swimming at the
Now, I've
moment.
got some inside information that they actually did a little bit today,
Yeah.
and they only got 80 fish.
Only.
Yeah.
Bit poor, really.
Now, they are getting amazing. They said it's amazing. They only did a small patch of the wall and got 80 fish today.
That's
Murray
really
cod.
Yeah.
Because
So-
they don't have a real good success rate with the electro-fishing, do they?
No.
So there's a lot would get away. So 80's a big.
Good effort.
That's a big number.
I'll go on to
crank up the
say,
voltage.
you'll see how Murray cod are caught, measured, weighed, tagged and released, and how this will help us manage our fishery into the future. These surveys will help us assess the numbers, size range and genetics of Murray cod resulting from our ongoing stocking program, which has included 2.5 million Murray cod since 2000. If you're keen to come along, you can RSVP by contacting Taylor Hunt, who's the fisheries manager. There's his email and mobile number, but I reckon it's too late. Just turn up at the Eildon boat ramp tomorrow. So there you go. Great program, and you will see some very interesting stuff tomorrow. But like I said, they got a little sneak in before the rain hit today.
Yep.
80 fish.
That is a
Amazing.
lot.
So, and all those fish, so anything over 35, they're going to tag.
Yep.
And there's a whole lot of rewards for people that do catch a tagged fish, so you can report it, let it go, obviously, if you can. Unlike Don Newman. I meant to tell you that. I know we're going to stretch this out,
triggered
but
the memory.
you know that 49 centimetre whiting, I said to
yeah.
Donnie yesterday, I said, mate, so did you tag it? Because Don's, I think, the
Yeah.
leading tagger.
Yeah, so he's all for it.
He just smiled and looked at me and said,
With breadcrumbs.
Necked it.
Panko. All right, next one. Mornington Pier bust. There was a big bust on Saturday, and I think we've got a photo here. Look at this. On Saturday, fisheries officers apprehended 2 anglers at Mornington Pier with 5 undersized snapper in an esky following a phone call to 1-3 fish from a concerned member of the public. The fish measured between 15... Oh, no,
I
we
was
don't
going to say, I
want...
hope it wasn't that bad, was
We
it?
don't want that one up. We don't want that one up.
if
We
he
wanted
was-
just the photo of the snapper
If he
will
was
do.
fishing off the pier in his
Go
boat,
back to
he's
the
doing it
under-
wrong.
There it is.
Back to the
That's what we
undercover
wanted.
agents.
Yeah. They,
Hear that?
they weren't on the
5
boat.
undercover agents.
15.9 and 17 centimetres over between.
Kevin?
You can see Kevin. You can see the ruler there, and of course the minimum size is 28. The fish were seized, and each angler received an infringement notice of $484. I'll
So
tell you
not
what,
worth it. Put them back.
one 3-fish works. You've got to do
No
it.
animals harmed.
Now, they were. There was 5 those fish were dead in the esky. They weren't alive.
Yeah.
They weren't in there for drinking beer.
No.
Anyways, this is a big one. Remember this big bust from January last year. A few boys went to court this week. 21 fisheries officers were involved in a 16-month investigation called Operation Torpedo, which concluded with the arrest of a Camperdown fish and chip shop. Now, that's sad for Camperdown because such a lovely little town, boys, where you get the schnook salmon out the back in Purrumbete and Bullen-Marai.
Does that make them accomplices if they eat the fish?
Don't you worry, you're going to hear about them.
Okay.
But the bloke who owns the fish and chip shop in Camperdown, you can tell which shop it is.
Yeah, the one with
And his wife's working in it now because he's in jail, actually. On Friday, all 4 men pleaded guilty in court and received various penalties ranging from jail, fines and a 10-year ban. The fish and chip shop owner pleaded guilty, and I think we've got some of the stuff that was confiscated. You can show the photos. Pleaded guilty to illegally taking shark and other fish and selling them through his retail outlet. He also pleaded guilty to possessing commercial fishing equipment, failing to retain shark in carcass form, exceeding the daily catch limit for sharks, and dealing with the proceeds of crime to the value of $50,000. He even lost the truck that towed the van. There you go.
So he's actually in jail, right?
Yeah, well, I'm going to read that next. So that was all seized by fisheries. Lost the boat, lost the rods and reels, lost the truck. I think that was all valued at $180,000. So he was convicted and sentenced to 3 months imprisonment, banned from fishing or being aboard a boat in Victorian waters for 10 years. Fined $9,000 and had, like the photo showed, his boat, truck and fishing gear worth $180,000 forfeited. A second man involved in the shop's management was convicted and sentenced to the same 3 months jail.
Dead set.
Without forfeiture, because obviously he didn't have anything. Yeah. A third man who accompanied the shop owner on most fishing trips was convicted and sentenced to 2 months jail, banned from fishing or being aboard a boat for 10 years and fined $7,500. And the fourth man who participated in 6 fishing trips, because they had it all filmed and that, he was convicted, fined $6,000 and banned from recreational fishing for 12 months. I reckon they're hoping they're not in the same water as Tony Mockbell.
No, I know, just thinking the same thing, They might have a fillet knife run up their back, but no women.
That's
not really equality, is it?
No, well, they're left to run the shop, which is a sad thing, because, obviously a lot of illegal activity went into that one.
It's a serious thing. You can't be doing that sort of...
No, it's serious. So,
they're not allowed in a boat, like they can't even go water skiing.
Not allowed out in a boat, and not allowed to fish for 10 years.
I didn't think the authority actually extended that far to sort of say to someone, you can't go out in a boat.
They almost don't want them anywhere near the water.
It said that, didn't it?
It did.
Banned from fishing or being aboard a boat in Victorian waters.
So you can't take the ferry from Port Sereno to Queensland?
No. In case he puts a salmon lure out. No, he's stuffed. He's only hoping that he's not in Tony Mockbell's cell tonight. Anyway, because apparently it's empty tonight. He's got another bed somewhere else. So. All right, let's keep going. The 30th annual Amateur Whiting Challenge for 2019 is on. This is a big event, boys.
This is a very big event.
Numero uno whiting competition in Australia. In fact, the world. Have a look at what's going on here. It's on Saturday 2nd and Sunday the 3rd of March. There's a random draw for a boat, a trailer and a motor.
Wow.
If you catch a King George whiting that weighs more than 1 kilo or more and you're the first one to do it, you'll get $1,000 in cash. There's so many prizes, it's not funny. And I think it's about my 4th year running. I'm presenting those prizes at 4 p.m. on the Sunday. So a great competition. And if we can get back to the camera, sorry, I'm going to have to tell Kim in the studio, or I might even...
this is really cool.
And I'll put it up the right way. That's actually the prize. That's probably good enough there. That's the prize for the person who gets the heaviest bag over the 2 days. Now, that is actually a hand-painted proper to
scale.
scale 50 centimetre whiting.
To scale. Is there a double meaning in that?
There is. Because I don't know if you won't be able to pick it up on
No,
the
it's
on the
not
shot,
scaled.
But,
It's
but,
actually-
but there's actually even all the silver scales that are in a whiting. Those
That's
small ones are
awesome.
actually in the pick, and it's just an absolutely awesome hand painted thing. This is
Doesn't do it justice on
Old
TV. No.
97-year-old Donny.
right on.
Got his minder to bring it in yesterday, and who's also named Don, and that's it. I better not drop that. I'll just pop that down there. But
That's great. It's really good.
Yeah, that's cool.
fantastic
Yeah, it's really cool, yeah.
prize. Now, talking about the Western Port Angling Club, because they're a great club, there's been a new club record set for a garfish.
Oh,
Oh.
And you know him,
Stop it.
Paddy Neidhart. Caught, I think we've got a photo here. Paddy got a
Whoa.
364 gram. That is a mini marlin garfish, and set a new club record on the 27th of December.
it's a long time.
2008. That's a long time. That's lost. So there you go.
Good job, Pat.
Yeah.
That's a big garfish.
That is a big gun. A 24 kilo line.
364 grams.
Far out.
Give some whiting a run for its money, wouldn't
Yeah,
it? So,
right, yeah.
couple of other little news items. I did mention earlier on there'd been a big snapper kill today. It's in Wallagoot Lake, which is south of Tathra on the New South Wales south
Okay.
coast.
So again, would they be landlocked fish? similar to
Landlocked,
size?
hasn't been open for a long time.
Yep.
Dissolved oxygen levels are very low.
Yep.
Lake's hot.
Yep.
And the snapper turned over today, and they're talking in the thousands.
Yeah,
for
right.
snapper.
How big do they do? Do they know this?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Because you'd think
But
they'd be pretty big.
it is worrying because, and you don't want to see this stuff happen in Victoria. I mean, I know
Yeah.
Lake Bolac, there was a little kill of rainbow trout because it just got too hot.
yep.
But from all reports on the weekend, there was a lot of snapper in Lake Tyers, and these systems are hot, and there's nothing you can do about it. But
No.
I know that the local council that does have control over that lake are now seriously looking at do they artificially open it because
I was just about to say, does that
You've
now
had a fish
spark
kill.
talks
that's
to open it? Because I know from an environmental standpoint, there's always the question on whether it makes sense to do that or not.
because you can actually cause a fish
Yeah.
kill
Yeah.
if you open it up.
Yeah,
so-
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about what happened in New South Wales later on too, Trelly, because you're up to date on all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But coming up next, product of the week. It's all about the kingfish. Next on Talking Fishing.
Talking fishing.
Good morning, spotters. Stephanie speaking.
Product of the week, brought to you by Tackle World.
Talking fishing, nothing but fishing. We're talking fishing.
Okay, it's been no secret that the kingfish have been hard work over the course of the summer already, so we're going to show you a few bits and pieces and a few tips on how to get the most out of your kingfish lures because, Dave, how many trips has it been for you?
7.
7?
For donuts.
There's a few boys at the shop that have struggled big time as well.
Yeah.
And as we mentioned earlier in the show, the most frustrating part is we know they're there. So I'm going to show you a few little bits and pieces. We're all familiar with our vertical jigs. There hasn't been much use for these as of yet because the fish haven't shown up in any great numbers in the rip. Now, our offshore conditions are quite shallow, so it's kind of pointless throwing a 200 or dropping a 200 gram jig to the bottom because by the time you give it 2 or 3 cranks, you're at the top. So, why not turn your beautiful, shiny, teaser-like vertical jigs into a live bait rig?
What? So you've got a leader hanging off the back of your
That's
jig.
it. So instead of your assist hook that hangs off the front, take it
Yeah.
off,
Yep.
attach your fluorocarbon and circle hook at the end, and now you can bridle your slimies or your yakkers or calamari, whatever you want to do, but actually
As
use
if that's
the
chasing the jig.
Well, you use the jig as your
Teaser.
weight.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you can get
And
it
a
down
teaser.
in the current,
Yep.
but it's flashing and carrying on with all the glow and prism
Yeah,
tape
yeah.
on it. It becomes a teaser with your live bait sitting right behind
Hmm.
it. So nice little trick. If you're finding
Yeah.
the kingfish sitting behind your live baits but not committing, it can be enough on a tough day to get them to switch
Yeah.
on.
Yep.
That's a cool little trick.
Can I just ask you about that? Sorry to interrupt, but would you drop a snap
Yep.
snap swivel on that?
Snaps all to the top, exactly
Yeah.
the same as if you were rigging with a sinker.
Yep.
It's just now that sinker becomes your your vertical jig.
Yeah.
So you find that they might still go the jig.
Definitely.
You say you hook on the top as well.
Oh no! I'd take the hook off.
Yeah.
I'd take the hook off because it is solely a teaser. But if you find they're still hitting that jig, they're trying to tell you something.
They're probably blind. That's
Well,
why.
that's-
Because there's a slimy mackerel coming up behind it, and you'd want to have that instead.
If they're hitting that instead of a live bait, they're trying to tell you something, which leads me to this. This is the smaller, lighter, and slower version of the vertical jigs that we're used to using in the rip and places
We've got a
like
close
that.
up of that because
So-
the colours in that.
That is a little wonderful jig. It is 100 grams, so it's quite light in the scheme of vertical jigs. But when you're in 10, 12, 14, 20 metres offshore, sitting very close to that shoreline, this can become your best friend because those kings are looking at this.
Yeah.
They're not reacting to anything too quick. You can actually hold that in their face. And the action on these jigs is all on the drop, not the retrieve.
So have you tried a live bait behind that?
No, I haven't.
Are those hooks big enough for a kingfish?
They are. They're insanely sharp.
Yeah.
And because they sit on the assist cord, what it's designed to do is you'll get a corner of the jaw hook up with one, but the other will actually pin it on the outside of the face where they can't throw it. So that's the plan. You do not need to change the hooks.
The old double assist.
The old double assist hook trick on a small, slow jig. So, Dave, this might actually get you back into jigging because you don't have to work too hard because the slower you work them, the better. So they're great for the offshore angler. Soft plastics are another one that can get you to do something different. We hear a lot, especially with these fish offshore, they're chasing live baits, they're following jigs, they're following poppers, but they won't commit. The secret to these plastics, now this is a slapstick, it's rigged weedless, not because you're going to get snagged, but because that worm hook holds the weight in the belly, keeping the bait vertical. So it looks very natural. So you can burn that quite quick, and the action on these things is crazy, but you can find if they're still not committing, you can pause and sink that bait back down towards them as if it was like a bait fish that has just been hit and is falling through the water column. So again, it's just versatility and trying to find out what they're going to do.
Can you put a live bait behind it?
If you want to bang a live bait off it, go for your life. This would be my favourite, and I think one of the biggest tips because it not only acts as a teaser, but it also gives you a fish catching option. So you don't need to hang a live bait behind it, Charlie. This is a cake and popper. It's very loud. I would have someone on your boat, especially when you're offshore in the shallower water, throwing this all the time. Even when nothing is happening, if you are trolling, but if you're slow trolling between places, put this out the back. That can be enough with the reflection of the prism tape on the top water lure, plus the noise it makes as you're working it. Even if the fish aren't going to hit this, they're going to see the commotion, and all of a sudden you've got your live baits hanging behind. It can be enough to bring them up. They're a super inquisitive animal. They will come and have a look at these things just for the sake of looking at it. And if you can switch them to, if they're not going to eat that, if you can then switch them into your live bait or your squid strip that you've got hanging in the water already, that's only going to be a good thing.
So your mate on the boat would be called David. Who would cast that all day.
I'm not throwing that all day.
Dave has three casts, and has to go and have a shower.
We put a live bait behind, that's right.
Charlie, I was talking to Michael Moore, who was from ex-employee from your shop down at Geelong, who is an absolute wealth of knowledge when it comes to fishing for kingfish. He said, come March, he just uses so much surface.
And this is
from Barwon, out from Geelong, like that's sort of that western whatever of Port Phillip Bay out through the heads. He says surface is the go in March.
And
that's amazing.
You know,
it catches a lot of kingfish.
The key word there though is March.
I know.
They are hard work, these fish, and they've been particularly finicky. That could be through 150 different reasons. We don't think bait's one of them. There is so much food out there and so much bait. It could be a speed up in the current. It could be the water temperature rising or falling by half a degree. I seem to think we haven't seen the best of the kingfish season yet. I wouldn't write it off.
Yeah.
It was only a couple of years ago that March was the go-to season for the fish in the rip. It still may happen. It's just a matter of doing these tiny little things. The 1%ers, Charlie, I know you're huge on it. Those small 1%ers just to try and get these things to turn on because they're there. They will let you see them, so they're being even more frustrating.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that is frustrating.
It's just trying to find that trigger for them to start to feed. Because if one goes, they'll all go.
Yep.
Trelly, let's change the subject.
Yep.
Pretty important one because, in all seriousness, we have been overwhelmed by the amount of mail, and we do take a 6-week break over most of January and a little bit of February. About the fish kills that have occurred in the Murray-Darling system, particularly Western New South Wales, but that system's a big system that flows right through into Victoria, into South Australia, obviously. There's so many reasons that the punters say why, from it's drought, lack of environmental flows. The cotton farmers are pinching all the water. They're taking the whole river's worth in a day. There's, even on social media the other day I saw someone's up in a plane showing beautiful green fields, and that's where all the water's gone. What has happened?
I can only sort of comment on the research that I've done on this because, I give Bob Baldwin, who's one of the ex-MPs, but he was on the Murray-Darling Basin,
authority,
or one of the people in Parliament who was part of that process. So I rang him up and we had a good discussion. But we've got a problem that. Now, I'm not going to get this right, but we've got a problem that the states control the water, the federal pay for it, but the states still control the water. So if it's legislated on paperwork that Queensland, the rainfall's in Queensland, there's a certain amount can be taken out of there. But then once it gets to New South Wales, it's their concern. So there's got to be an agreement between the states then, what gets to South Australia, what gets downstream. Now this causes a lot of concern because the original plan, which was done by the coalition, was to authorise a management plan over the whole Murray-Darling Basin plan, right? Murray-Darling Basin. Then when the next government came in, I think Burke was part of this, was split up. And it was the authority for river flows or river deliveries was then given to the states. So that's where the problem lies. There's not a management plan when you break that up and downstream. So, and one of the
is the plan a plan of how to manage the water?
The original plan was how to manage the water, but then I believe it's been hijacked by the states having authority over their own water, and then the plan sort of fell to bits. So
there is no plan?
There's no proper management plan. There's no proper top-to-tail water delivery management plan of the water.
So is that any different in Victoria? Is there a chance that this could happen at some stage in Victoria, or is it a completely different set of circumstances because of the nature of the water or the actual area itself?
Yeah, you're right, because the plan covers such a big area, nothing applies to Victoria that would apply to the Darling River or upstream from there. So it's completely different. We need probably 5 or 7 or 10 different plans for the Murray-Darling Basin. But I do know that supply to South Australia comes from, a lot of that comes from Victoria, New South Wales up the Murray, rather than up the Darling. So the allocation can be split between one and the other. Delivery can be taken from one state or the other. And we're seeing at the moment unseasonal high flows of down past the Goulburn, past Shepparton, that's being delivery of water, not environmental water.
High flows?
High flows, unseasonal high flows in the Goulburn River for downstream delivery that's to suffice requirements to South Australia because there's been a deal done between Victoria and South Australia.
So you're seeing that in the Goulburn, that's coming out of Eildon?
Correct, yeah. So it's not a management plan over the whole lot. There's water being transferred, and all this links back. Look, this bit's my opinion. All this has been linked back to the landowner, the water being unlinked from the landowner. When the farmer had the allocation of water and the whole scheme was built around irrigation and water supply, it was for the farming community, and there was a lot of environmental advantages to that as well. But once they unlinked water to land, and you lived in Hong Kong, you could buy water in Australia, which is happening now. The investors come in, and water's now a commodity. And that's when you see the dollars come in and things change. And that's where you see these environments. Now, I was watching a bit on TV about the Menindee Lakes. And there was a person who was very high ranked within the Murray-Darling Basin Plan, and he came out. I think it was on one of the TV shows. I was Four Corners or something like that. But he said because of the evaporation rate, they take it from Menindee first because of evaporation rate, but they haven't left enough in there for insurance value for those cod up there. It's been delivered from there first, then they've run out of water, it's been dry. So management, it's all about management of water, and we haven't got it.
We're going to come back to this, Charlie, because they're yelling at us in our ear, so we'll go to a break. But I want to come back to that, because I want to know, did the cotton farmers take any? Coming up next, though, Kramer's Marbag. Then we're going to get back to Trelly about this very, very important fish kill that's occurred in New South Wales. Next on Talking Fishing.
Talking fishing.
We know what you'd rather be doing.
We know what you've really got in mind.
We know you'd rather be out fishing. And today's the day you're gonna wet a line. 'Cause every day's a good day.
Stop wishing. Every day's a chance to drift away.
Drift away.
Every day's a good day for fishing. See it down and tackle world today.
Talking fishing, nothing but fishing. We're talking fishing.
Only a little bit of mail, boys. A lot over the break, but nothing worth mentioning.
Junk mail.
Had a bit of junk mail. So anyway, a couple worth talking about. The first one is Pete. Pete writes in, "G'day, David. I'd just like to show you a picture I saw of the selfish practice of parking your car and trailer at a small but busy boat ramp. The ramp being Bem River. Have a look at this bloke. Bem River, on the week before Australia Day, this Nong managed to occupy 4 parking spots. If you recognise that car, please call him a Nong or whatever you want to call him.
You got an Nimrod sticker on there, probably.
Can you please discourage this behaviour, because it's hard enough to find a parking spot sometimes without this stupid practice. This just causes frustration. Thanks, Pete.
Don't paint the lines for nothing.
His rego number is... Now, Charlie, this is one that I reckon you can relate to. It says, "Hi guys, hi guys. Just wondering if you could assist. After spending some time away over the break fishing the bay, we surprisingly noticed that fish once caught dramatically shrink." I thought you were into shrinkage. No, I've seen you on a cold night. Although we did catch quite a few in the 50 plus centimetres. In speaking with fisheries, they don't seem to take this into account when they do inspections. Rather, only the measurement at that static point of time, recorded measurement. Yes,
terrible.
I got stung with undersized flatties, where fisheries even counted 2 millimetres under as under. And yes, I'm going to contest it.
Well, you shouldn't get your wife to wash your fish in the boat.
In reading articles online, I found a fishing article from back in 2015 on this and how all fish species seem to shrink once caught. Although flatties were not cited in the article, other species such as King George, whiting and snapper were both shrank up to 10 millimetres in the first few hours.
10 mil?
I'm calling you got caught with undersized fish. Sorry, his name's Dave, and I won't hold that against him. But
whirlpool.
I don't. It goes on and on and on. Although yes, some would say just catch over the minimum to allow for reduction. The requirement is still 27 mil or above, which I would guess not a lot of fishermen would know, could become 26 centimetres depending on duration after capture, and so put them in the crosshairs of fisheries. As such, I was wondering if you may have any advice or research regarding shrinkage.
Well, it's speeding fines like that. They give you 2K.
Yeah, as it would seem that fisheries were focused more on quick revenue than anything else. I'm calling BS on that. I'm sorry. If you are keeping,
that's a hard one.
No, I'm serious. If you're keeping a 27 centimetre flathead, I don't think you should be. I can't believe, in all honesty, I cannot believe that fish shrink by up to 1 centimetre.
I've never noticed, but I've never measured them. As in, I've measured them.
If you put them on the roof of your boat,
for a day
in the sun. That day it was 43 degrees.
I have to do an experiment with that.
Yeah, that's right. Let's do a shrinkage thing. Like I say, speeding fines, they give you 2Ks.
We'll have some real mailbag next week, all right? If you'd like to write into Kramer's mailbag, this is what you have to do.
Send your mail to Kramer's Mailbag, PO Box 734, Patterson Lakes, Victoria 3197, or email kramer@ifish.com.au.
Now, Trelly, it was on social media today.
Yep.
The cotton farmers, they're bypassing their meters and they are sucking the guts out of the Darling River and using that for their for their cotton plants, and they're making a mozza. Is that really? Are they really getting away with that and taking all the water out so there's no water for the Menindee system?
Yeah, again, that's something that was highlighted in that Four Corners there some time back. So, and I believe was like proven that yes, that was the case with certain farmers. Like you can't put everyone in the same bucket, but yeah, look, there is. The trouble is with these guys, it's their living and all that type of thing. You say that, but then there's got to be an environmental measure on things. So that's when those people, the monitoring of this and the management of water is the big issue. That's the biggest thing. If they can manage it properly and they get compliance, and that's another big issue with compliance in some of these outback stations and things. I don't believe that the cotton farmers have probably had much of an influence on this particular scenario, because I don't believe that they've probably had the water to take, for one. And it's been highlighted. There's been a couple of factors that have come into it and highlighted that lack of water, hot weather, probably mismanagement with the level of water that's been taken out of the Menindee and on a downstream delivery. That's all come together at the one point. But if you're to take a good thing out of a bad thing, I think it's actually brought it to the front page of every newspaper around the country and every news
television
feed.
show.
Exactly, to bring this to a highlight that there's got to be a proper management plan.
But now that that's happened, is there any way to? Obviously, you can't fix it. Those fish are dead, and that's. I mean, we've all seen the nasty photos of metre plus Murray cod hanging in freezers being donated to research and science and bits and pieces. Is there any answer right now? Can they just flush the thing out and it's all good? We've lost all these fish. What do they do? Do they just wait till it rains? Like, what's the?
There's no water to flush it out. So if they release the water out of Menindee Lake, that's going to have a kill all the way downstream, because that's just going to go from 3 metres of water above the wall to 6 inches of water below the wall. So it's just going to get worse. They have gotten at Go Fish, and there's a couple of other fishing authorities up there doing some great work at the moment. Aerators, but they only do about the size of a tennis field.
And I'm tipping there's a more than a tennis field size lake in.
But in saying that, look, there's a lot of dried river straits with a lot of deep water in there, so it is doing some good. But look, if you go back past irrigation and past the dams, I mean, that river would have been dry, all the fish would have been dead. So it's management. It's just and look, it's a hard one.
All good. Thanks for trying to explain that, because it's complex.
It's a very complex issue.
There's no one answer, and there's a lot of blame. Poor old Niall Blair, we met up in Sydney that time.
That's right.
He's been under the pump, hasn't he?
That's right. It is a real hard one. But water management over the whole day.
So that's the long-term answer. Is get that right.
All right. It's hopefully Victoria's not going to get affected by fish kills at all, and that's a good thing. So coming up next, the all-important fishing hotspots, and we've got a cracker weekend coming up. Stay tuned. Next on Talking Fishing.
Talking Fishing.
G'day, Callan here from Paul Worson's Tackle World Cranbourne.
Supercharged batteries have been supplying maintenance-free marine batteries since 2001. The Seamaster Gold range is second to none, delivering superior starting power and reserve capacity. No need to top up with water, truly a fit and forget battery. With up to 2 years replacement warranty, you know you have quality. Your battery is your lifeline. Without it, you're dead in the water because it's bloody hard to push start.
I've got a Seamaster battery in my boat.
Make yours a Seamaster Gold today.
Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing.
And now the segment you've all been waiting for.
Hotspots, brought to you by Seamaster Batteries.
There you go, the things we talk about during the breaks. I tell you, can I just give a quick plug? The new stubby holders are out. If you haven't seen them, they will be available from next week, I'm told.
And Shane, I know you're watching. I'll grab you 8. I haven't forgotten.
Yeah.
all
You're
good.
telling me they're $30 plus GST plus
we haven't
postage.
discussed
But anyway.
price yet. He's going for a bulk buy discount.
New stubby holders, and I believe T-shirts are on the way as well. So anyway, Kev's on the job. The other thing is, I'm getting bombarded by text messages saying that fish do shrink. So I'm wrong. Glenn Lacey told me he got inspected by fisheries, and his fish had changed 1 centimetre in a couple of hours.
Okay,
so,
that's interesting.
And Glenn catches a few fish. All the respect to Glenn, I tell you, because I'm
that's
probably wrong.
So who wrote that letter in? Yeah, you're right. That's Dave's wrong.
Yeah, give us some mail. In fact, people, if they want to write into Kramer's Mailbag next week, tell us about your experiences on fish shrinkage or any other sort of fish shrinkage. Because I've seen yours at night, Charlie, and it gets quite small, I can tell you, particularly on a cold night.
Humidity's
I'm glad I didn't get invited to that party.
You were there in the corner. Hotspots, that's what we're doing.
Hotspots, the same subject, aren't we?
Here we go. So, number 1, let's kick it off. Sandringham. If you're anywhere near town and you want a good feed of garfish, let me tell you, I know that 45 centimetre by Paddy was... it was bigger than 45. 364 grams.
I'm not sold it was a garfish. It was a long time.
It was a long time. Mini marlin. But anyway, if you want garfish, Sandringham is the place to go. In nice and shallow, 3 to 4 metres, and there are plenty of garfish around that top end of Port Phillip Bay. Let's head over to the Simmons Channel, which is, if you're looking towards Melbourne, it's the left-hand side of Mud Island in Port Phillip Bay. There's some magnificent spots up the northern end of Simmons Channel, lots of weed beds, and I can tell you this Saturday is going to be dead calm, absolutely beautiful,
dead calm,
and some good King George whiting out there.
In your opinion, are we in one of the best Port Phillip Bay whiting seasons in a long, long time?
Absolutely, we are. Yeah, I think next year will be very interesting because those fish are all going to be big. I mean,
that's right.
The current, the year class that's actually dominating is about 36, 37 centimetres at the moment. They will be up over 40 centimetres. In fact, we've got a talk night in a couple of weeks. I didn't even mention that, but a talk night down at Mornington Mazda on King George whiting. Paul Hamer's coming along. So
and he knows what's up when it comes to it.
Well, he's going to tell us what it's going to be like for the next few years, and it is going to be sensational.
Good.
So there you go. Let's head over to Western Port now and the Tyab Bank.
Is this 2 garfish hotspots in one episode?
I asked. I said to Donnie.
I've been mentioned before.
Yeah, we use reliable sources, I tell you, for our hotspots, don't we?
Yeah, 100%.
And I said to Donnie, he actually worked for us on Monday, and Donnie actually fell asleep at the counter. He actually had a snooze for a while.
Because it was just him working, everyone else was off sick or on holidays.
But Donnie, I said to Don, if you're going to point someone in the direction, because he knows Western Port like the back of his hand, even though it's quite wrinkled at 97 years of age.
Oh, probably goes to the
I
bottom
said to
of
Donnie, where would you go for a garfish? And he said the Tyab Bank.
Nice.
So there you go. Yeah. Next one. If you want a King George whiting, that's the Tyab Bank. Next one, the Middle Spit.
Garfish.
The old reliable... King George whiting.
The old whiting beacon of Western Port.
Yes.
Now, you're going to expect those... I think there's quite a lot of smaller fish. That year class below, which is all around that 27, 28 centimetres. Just be careful because they might shrink, apparently. But just watch those smaller King George whiting, whereas I reckon they're all a bit bigger in Port Phillip.
Yeah,
not so many of those smaller fish. So let's keep moving along. If you want a chance of a kingfish this weekend, none other. I was talking to Chris down at Trellies Geelong today, and he said reliably, if he was to go offshore, the Barwon Heads Reefs would be this weekend.
Nice.
Been fishing really well. Even in the Barwon River itself's been fishing well for a couple of other species down there too. It's been fantastic.
But offshore, if you want a kingfish this weekend. Now, lucky last, lake tyres, and the dominating species...
is not what
by far is not snapper, even though there is some snapper in there. It's not flathead because there was only a few snapper caught. A few flathead caught in the Big Aqua Cup on the weekend, and I'll just note down Travis Dowling didn't get any.
Didn't trouble the scorers again.
But what he did say, and what many people said, was a lot of big brim, nudging 40 centimetres.
Good fish.
That's nice brim.
So not traditionally this time of year to get those big brim. It's normally dominated, I would have said, by flathead.
By the flathead, yeah, that's right. So
perhaps the flathead.
Water's changing. It is another system that's been closed for quite a long
2
time
years.
now.
Yeah.
So the brim obviously can deal with that water. You know, a little bit better than snapper at least.
Heard a little whisper too that they're desperately trying to get some prawn stock for lake tyres to try and get them in early before winter. so that they will be big next summer. So
I had a chat to Anthony Forster during the week. I'm all over that one.
What kayak?
So that's good. So anyway, Lake Tyers Brim, get down there. But I think the Aqua Cup, the Stevie Vidler, so the guy who runs Snobs Creek, I think he's won it 4 years in a row
the
now.
Fish Whisperer.
Yeah, and
good on you, Steve.
I think he won it with about a 75.
It's still good fish.
Taylor Hunt got a 65, I think.
Taylor?
Yeah, and there was a lot of 50s. So, but anyway, ask Taylor if you're heading up to like we mentioned before, Lake Eildon tomorrow between 10 and 12. If you've got nothing to do tomorrow, if you're bored sitting at home, get up to Lake Eildon to the wall or to the boat ramp next to the wall, and Taylor Hunt will be up there.
Yeah,
with
can I
the
just say,
crew.
that's a pretty cool thing by Fisheries to open that up and tell people, the public, we're doing it. Come and see how it's done.
Right,
It's
go
a
and
cool
say
thing.
good day, Taylor. If you're up there, go and say good day because he's a lovely chap. Yeah, he's a funny bugger.
You know, during the holidays, he got his first kingfish. They were rats.
Is that his new boat or something too? Isn't it?
He's got a new boat, but he actually got his first kingfish.
Good on him.
That's right,
And he's doing it. And that's, I think, one of the beauties when we talk about the Victorian Fisheries Authority. Most of the staff are regular fish,
fishers.
and they've just got a real passion for what they do for a living. So
that's excellent.
I like it.
It's good. Trelly, golden perch still on the menu at the moment. Only got about 20 seconds to go, by the way.
Catching a few over at Eildon, yes. They're catching a few over there, and in the Goulburn, but mainly on bait in the Goulburn. So,
Barty grubs or something, or worms?
Mainly shrimp, live shrimp. Yeah, live shrimps to go.
There you go.
Yeah, long line.
There you go. That's it for Talking Fishing. We hope you enjoyed the show. Next week, like I said earlier on, you boys are
Just
away.
got to ease into these things, Dave.
You boys are away
Got to
already.
ease into
Both
these
of
things.
you in 1 week. So, we've got Chris from Trellies in Geelong. We've got Travis Dowling, the CEO of Victorian Fisheries Authority. He's joining us, as well as Women in Recreational Fishing Ambassador Chloe Malloy from the Collingwood AFLW. I have, because Travis barracks for Collingwood too.
Get into them,
I
Chloe.
have got so many Collingwood jokes for next week. It's going to be good.
Don't take any of them, Chloe.
Some cracking fishing weather coming up this weekend.
You've got a week to write some material.
Until we see you again next Tuesday on Talking Fishing, please stay safe on the water and enjoy your fishing.
Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing. We got all you need, just take a look. Watch those fish jump on your hook. So just relax and take your time. Enjoy the show, then drop us a line. Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing. Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing. Talking fishing.
Have a good weekend, Mr. Walker.
You too, son.